Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome to We Are the Church, the Sabbath afternoon sessions. My name is Kent Kingston. I'm from Adventist Media and Signs of the Times, and my co-host today is muted and needs to be unmuted. This is Rachel Lemons Aitken, everyone. And yes, I think looks like you're unmuted now, Rachel. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm so excited to be here with you again, friend. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, feeling really, really great. So, Rachel, you were watching last night's We Are the Church event, the Friday night, opening Sabbath sessions. What happened there? Give us the highlights.
Well, fortunately, you can go back and watch it yourself if you've missed it. But yeah, it was really great to see Renee and Pastor Glenn. They were hosting. I was really inspired by what a lot of our churches are doing throughout the division in that process of really making friends and beginning to meet people's needs. I think that was the emphasis that I saw. There was a lot of looking for people's needs and seeing how can we as a church, how can we as individuals really meet people where they are and do the things that are really going to help them in that exact moment of need they have. So if you have missed it, you can definitely go back and check it out.
That sounds really good, and I guess in some ways that theme is very much continuing this afternoon. I guess there's a little bit of a tradition in the Adventist Church of the Sabbath afternoon mission profile sort of session, and that's very much what we're doing here. We're going to check out some different mission initiatives, different community outreach efforts that are happening in various parts of our South Pacific division. We've got representation from Australia. We've got representation from our largest union, which is Papua New Guinea, and also from the Trans-Pacific Union Mission, which is based right there in Fiji. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting a full spread of what's going on around the division. I think the We Are the Church message is, really important. I mean, you and I, Rachel, we work at Adventist Media, we're hosting this, we're making it available, but really, in the end, it's not about people who are working for institutions and have job titles, is it?
Yeah, it's really about the local church, and that's what we're passionate about is empowering people. And I think one thing that we'd like to emphasize today is that if you feel inspired in any way by any story that you hear, it's possible for you to get started, for you to do something, for you to assess the needs of your local community and see how we can be the hands and feet of Jesus. And that's why I love what we're doing today, because we're really prompting people to take that extra little bit of action. And I think one of our guests, in fact, she calls it being brave. So I'm excited to dive deep as we're doing today into some of these stories and to really give you the opportunity to see how God is prompting you to use the talents and gifts that your church community has to reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the resources that we really want to point people towards is the We Are the Church webpage. There you go. It's right on the bottom. Wow, Brett's our producer today. He's behind the scenes. You're really on the ball there, Brett. Thank you. So yeah, if you go to that webpage, adventistchurch.com/We Are the Church, there are all kinds of resources there to get you started in thinking about the needs of your community and what you can do. I mean, some of you are probably watching this session from the We Are the Church website right now, so you're there. But yeah, there it is. Okay, so let's open with prayer, Rachel, before we get into our first video. And thanks, Claire Bear, for your happy Sabbath. Yeah, let's open with prayer. Over to you, Rachel.
All right, let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we're so excited for this opportunity that you've given us to be part of your mission and to show people what it looks like to experience your love. God, I pray that as we listen today, that we're not just listening, but that we're inspired to do something for those people around us. I pray that people will grab their pen and paper right now and just write down those tips and those notes that are really going to push them forward. And I pray that you give us all courage to do those things that you're putting on our hearts to do. In your name I pray, amen.
Amen. Okay, well, now we are going to go to that beautiful pearl of the Pacific, the beautiful island of Viti Levu in Fiji. Let's check out what ministry looks like Fijian style.
Bula everyone, this is our Peria Healing Ministry, helping all those sickness and especially our visitors who come with their stress and sickness, especially arthritis, diabetic, blood pressure, and mostly we got two patients who having heart problems. For us, it's really a privilege to help them, especially with the hot and cold process we've been doing for them, and the massage with the green drinks and the cholesterol drinks too. And we know that God is using all these little our helpers, the pathfinders and our youth, to be the healing hands for Peria Healing Ministry.
I am Volau Rambuka, and actually I am the leading servant of the personal ministry in Peria Church. With the activities identified to support or complement the message, we included food ministry and health ministry. And surprisingly, every night we're receiving about more than 50 people, more than 50 children who come and have their meals here, and 60 adults. Those who have come here to eat with us, we managed to talk with two mothers who shared that at home they hardly have nothing, and it's a fortunate and a glorious thing to come and have meal in such a time like this. So one of the targets too for our meeting was like for workers who normally have problem in going back and coming back. We thought of preparing meals for them so they don't have problem. Well, we managed to have some who come here, and but like apart from them, we had other families which we never expected to have, and it's a joyful thing when we wait for them. They come joyfully up to the dining room and sit on the table to wait for their meal.
I was
Wow.
very inspired by that.
I was hungry. Right, lovely. Hey,
Significant, to be very honest.
hey, thank you very much for joining us, Mr. and Mrs. Rambuka, or I guess we can be more friendly and give you your personal names, Sakiosa and Volau. It looks great what's happening at your church there in Peria in central Suva. So this is sort of an inner city church, isn't it?
That is correct. It's right within the capital, Suva.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what are the particular needs that you see there in that sort of city environment that maybe you wouldn't see out in a more rural area?
Location.
I think one of the basic challenges for us is with regard to right now with COVID-19 coming in, with the level of unemployment, we are beginning to see, homes running out of food, basic physical needs. And that's one of the reasons I believe the food ministry that were undertaken recently provided an ideal opportunity for us to provide physical needs, feeding of families who attended the 2 weeks that we had. That's number one. And I think number two includes addressing we have the unemployed in Fiji, particularly those who are roaming around the streets. Under the new hall that we have in Suva, we provided accommodation for some of these people, in the hope that over time we can they look for alternatives to either go home or go back to their families. But we provide shelter, and I think unlike Australia and New Zealand, where you have all these shelters available, Peria does provide those services to some of those people who are roaming the streets of Suva.
I wanted to say that I appreciate the work that you're doing because you're giving dignity to parents. I think every parent wants to feel like they can provide for their kids. And I remember you saying, Ms. Falau, when you were talking that, the kids are coming joyfully and that sometimes the parents don't have food in their house to give to their kids. So can you talk a little bit about this idea of being able to help parents provide for their children? I'm sure that it makes them feel like they have so much dignity to be able to give food to their kids.
I would love to say that, through experience. One night,
actually while we were running and feeding people. Not only, we were feeding actually 100 more people. And one mother who sits right at the corner came up to me with tears in her eyes and said, "You know what? This meeting is such a great blessing to us." Little did I know that she had been bringing 5 of her children. And she is the one who did mention to me, "There's hardly any more food in our cupboard." It was a joy, and it was a joy in my heart. And when I shared this with the women, it kept them alive, motivated them to do more. And you should have seen the sight. It was a sight to see as they coming. Our church is a little bit sloped down, and as they run forward, looking forward to receive their meal every night. To me, it was a great satisfaction and joy. Maybe I'm answering right in
Oh, it's
that.
beautiful. That's exactly what I
Yeah,
was thinking because
yeah,
as you're talking, I'm getting tears in my eyes because I'm thinking how a mother would feel if she couldn't give food to her child. And the fact that you're giving people dignity to provide for their children, I think that that's exactly what Jesus has called us to do. So, um, and I love that you were saying that this is encouraging your local church members as well when they're seeing that connection between providing dignity to people to be able to provide to their families. Can you talk a little bit about that? The
yes.
motivation for your volunteers as
Motivation.
well?
The
Yeah.
motivation side, like if we are to begin with Peria, there's nothing new with food ministry. Once we were established back 2009, we began eating together, we began cooking together, and it built up our relationship. I can say that we love each other, and we build up lots of love even within the church, because it has to begin with us, then outward. So I may say it is such a ministry that can create love within. And as of today, we haven't mentioned that we had the 2 week evangelistic meeting, which was headed by Dr. Pastor Stone. There were 47 souls again, which had increased the number. And indeed, our church is beginning to full up now. And then the mothers began to think of other ways to be able to cater them, spiritually and physically. And this is one thing. Food ministry works throughout. Maybe if I have to add more, today is a Sabbath day, and everybody is invited every Sabbath. You don't have to cook. If you have no food at home, come home. There's someone who's better than you who can provide food. And that's what we've been doing. People learn to sacrifice. People learn through food ministry. People learn to love more. People learn to care more. Instead of having health talk during evangelistic meeting, most of the time we do have that. We have a segment of having a personnel official to come and talk. But instead of that, the best idea is to demonstrate through eating, through sharing of food. I don't know, but I do recommend very much that food ministry works so well when we run evangelistic meeting.
Now, I was just going to add, I think one of the important issue, I think response to the question is basically food ministry has provided an opportunity to select the ideal food provided for in the Bible. We started off eating, now we are eating vegetarian food. And, we have evolved, as you said, we started in 2009. Now in 2020, we have managed to agreed to that we have vegetarian diet every Sabbath.
Yes.
It's quite a challenge, having vegetarian diet on Sabbath.
Yes.
And I think it's an educational process. So it also, I believe, provides an opportunity for our church members, to look at those kind of food, provided under a cheap program, reasonably cheap, and the best way to cook these foods. And it has helped us in terms of, at this difficult time with limited money available to our church members. I believe food program has assisted us.
Oh, that just sounds absolutely fantastic, because I mean, I understand that Fiji in particular struggles with a pandemic of, diabetes and heart disease and high blood pressure and this sort of thing. And so, yes, you guys are meeting needs in your community, which is a great thing, but there's a message there too of health. Hey, thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. Rambuka and Peria Church for what you're doing there in Suva. We really appreciate your ministry, and we really appreciate the fact that that you are a part of our church. Really inspirational, and some great ideas for other churches to take on there. So yeah, thanks for your time today. Happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath, and thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's great, Rachel. You can't go wrong with food, can you?
No, I think you started this program a little hungry, Kent. I'm not sure.
Yes, that's true. Okay, well, now we're going to go down to another place that's been experiencing a bit of an epidemic lately. Not of of diabetes so much, but the COVID pandemic has hit Melbourne pretty hard, but they've been doing some great stuff over there over recent months. So let's check that out. What's going on in Melbourne?
My husband and I moved recently from overseas to do pastoral work in the west side of the Melbourne, and we're really enjoying Safari Australia. But there is something what we didn't expect, and that is a global pandemic. So we followed all instruction from a conference, what to do with the church, what to do on Zoom. So we had a really good media team. So we started to cover with the media really good Sabbath worship in the morning, closing of the Sabbath, and many things. But then we felt like we are not doing enough for our church members. We can't visit them, so what should we do? So we decided to do every night Zoom meetings and do some spiritual growing with our church. So Monday was reserved for the Revelation. Tuesday was for the main group. Wednesday was prayer group. And then Thursday is study of Epistle of Romans. And then Friday was Galatian. And then Saturday was worship and closing the Sabbath, and Sunday was reserved for the youth group. So it's looked like we covered everything, all spiritual needs of every kind of members from our church. But we still feel that we're missing something, that there is something what we have to do for the people outside of the church to really help and find them in their own needs. Mom of two, I also struggled what to do with them all these days in a lockdown. So I went to the parks, to the forest, and then I met people with the real problems. They also don't know what to do with the kids. They lost their job, they feel anxiety, they feel depression, stress, many things. And we find out that we have to help them. We have to be here for them. That's the church, isn't it? So we saw that there is no West Community Care, but our church actually is in West Melbourne. So we make the page, and we organize just 4 or 5 of us. We organize the page, and basically in 24 hours. So we are not something special gifted. There is a Bible work, one counselor, one health work, one pastor, and we started to do something. We didn't know what expected when we started, but we know that we have a desire in our heart to help our community, that they feel better. And we wanted to be as a church practical and useful. So we saw that there are many messages coming our inbox about the really physical but also mental problems and mental struggles. So we decided to have some workshops, and we called the special counselor who is educated to do workshops. And actually what is more important, they're practical. They're not just like lecture or 45 minutes of talking. It's practical worship, how to deal with problems today and with the stress. So for example, with the people who lost their own job and they're laying on the couch and they don't see purpose in their life now, and how to help the family. So that's the workshop that we organized for them. How to really survive all these lockdowns in Melbourne. Like I said, we didn't know what to expect, but in just 24 hours, we had 300 followers and many messages coming on our Facebook straight away when we started. So we don't know where this is going. Pray for us. But what we really want is to reach the community. And if you have any little desires in a heart to do God's work, just be brave and step out from your comfort zone. Our church can look like the whole year, just gather together on the Zoom and pray together. But actually what church is to fulfill the needs of our community. Be brave and stay safe in Christ.
Hi. Hi.
How are
Good.
you doing,
It's a
Sashka?
beautiful day today here in Melbourne. How are you going, guys?
What?
I love. I'm doing well. I loved how you led with this message of being brave. I thought that this was both for our current situation, but also in terms of our spirituality. Is that a message that kind of drove you to begin this ministry? Because your church was already quite busy. You named Monday through Friday, through Saturday. You guys are doing something every day, but you were that extra step of brave of starting something for the community. Is that what was driving you? Was this bravery?
I think that was a preacher in me, but okay. Yeah, I think we all felt like we are something missing. And something that we can more do for the community all around us. And especially when I met people and they don't know where to go, with who to talk, then I find out that what can I do as a church? And not just that, in the first Peter, it said that our purpose in our life is salvation of souls. And what am I doing right now? Sitting in this couch and listening all these sermons? I want to help Jesus and be part of this salvation of the souls, especially if Jesus is coming soon, And that's how we all started.
So Sashka, I was listening to what you said in your video, but I was having a little bit of trouble trying to picture exactly what these different workshops and things you put on involved. Were these like online workshops? I mean, considering Melbourne's lockdowns, or was there some sort of safe in-person way to do it? How did you organise that? How did you find the people, contact them?
Yeah, actually, that's the most interesting part. We didn't have idea at all to open Facebook page. It was idea just to have mental emotional workshop about depression and anxiety, and we find specialists in that area who is so long already doing workshops. And so what to do, how to advertise. And then another person said to us, well, you should open the Facebook page and then advertise through the Facebook page. Okay, so this Facebook page has to look a little bit, attractive and nice if you want to advertise something like this, because we don't want us all the time same people. We want people from community and come to them. So we opened the Facebook page, and basically in 24 hours, like I said in video, we organized that Facebook page, how to look nice, who will be the team, what to do, what is our goal. Actually, what we want to do with this Facebook page now. So we boosted that video about the speaker who will talk that, and then we put a link how you can register on that mental workshop. Why registration was actually the best? Because when they registered, they left their email. So we have the contact of all these friends that we never saw in our life. And we have their email address. You can add phone or whatever you want. We would just want an email address, so they will not be scared. But when they came to workshop, we were so excited for the first workshop. When we saw so many friends and how they're open to talk about their mental and emotional health right now. We had a lady that said, we saw that she's in the same suburb that our church is. We never know that before, this lady. And she said, sometimes I felt so difficult and bad and not good mood that I was not even able to get out from the bed and took the shower. So that's kind of people that we want to reach and talk with them and give them hope, give them strength to go forward.
Wow, so it was perfect. It was just exactly what she needed. So I noticed that you're focused on the sort of the west of Melbourne. Did you on Facebook try to target that particular geographical area, in the hope that at some point you're going to be able to meet up physically, or was this just like anyone?
Look, it's all about budget also. If we had huge budget, no, it's true. If you had huge budget, then you can advertise for the whole Melbourne. But then also we saw it's not just budget, but when all this finish and we want to come to these people, reach these people, I will not have a time to go to the east suburb. Like my mission board or my church or churches that will be involved in this, they will be able to be here and come to the people here. So, and that's why we put ourselves in the west side of Melbourne. But soon, if I saw that how God is leading that will be not just West Melbourne. Very soon, each side of the Melbourne will have page like this, so where people will be able to find resources and information about everything, not just workshops.
So, Sashka, one thing I'm wondering, and people may be wondering as well, because they may be inspired by your story, but wondering how they can do something similar. You said you were sitting on your couch, you're watching, we're consuming, because a lot of us are consuming. But then how do you go from that consumption to, I know people need help with their mental health? How do you bridge that gap between I'm consuming to actually knowing what other people need so that I can know what to create?
Okay, I would like to say that you should just pray and God will tell you everything. Okay, that's beautiful part of this, but it's not also practical. Sometimes it's good. I'm driving and I'm cooking and I'm praying, God lead me in this. But also, like probably you who watching this, I just wanted to do something and be part of this. But I'm not at all gifted for any computers or internet, Facebook, Instagram, nothing. I'm zero. I'm artist, I'm violinist, and I'm preacher, but I'm not this. Okay. So, and I was like, God, how can you teach me, and how can I learn, and how can I do this? So there is always two options. And the first option is to say like, oh, that's not my gift, and I already have a ministry. Or you can say like, I know I don't have gift. I know that I have already my ministry, but God used me in something new if you want, because this is new situation, Corona and all this internet. So God used me in this, whatever you want. And when you step out from your comfort zone, you will see how God is just opening door by door by door and sending people. And then all the time when he's sending new people, the new idea is coming, what you will do next. We started just with one idea, to have workshop, 4 series of emotional well-being workshop. But now we will advertise soup kitchens in 2 suburbs. Now we have a free Pilates on Zoom. So that's a friendly environment where people can come. But we started just with one idea. Nobody's not pushing you to start with everything.
So how did you know to do the emotional health idea? How did you realize you should do that idea, that first step? How did you know to take that first
Because
step?
I'm mom, and because I needed that.
Perfect. I think
That
this
was
is
my
awesome.
personal need.
It was something you needed. Yeah. So people
Yeah,
can think,
we
what
all
is it
need.
that I'm struggling with?
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm interrupting you all the time. But that because we are Christian, that doesn't mean that we are not struggling. We are struggling a lot. But, we also need the answer to some questions. So it's not just for other people outside, but it's also for our members. We have so many people who are alone. We have some members or people who started going through divorce right now in lockdown. So it's really difficult. They can't go out. They can't talk with people. They can't do anything. These kind of things can really help them to go through all of this and stay normal. Stay normal. Yeah. But there is also, sorry, one more thing
tell
I
us.
wanted to say. When, like I said, don't have expectation. Like, oh, we have to have 1,000 followers, or I don't know. No, don't have expectation. I believe that Peter didn't have any expectation when we started to preach. He just stood up and he preached. And the next was 5,000 baptism, So just go out from your comfort zone and try to think, what can you do if you are the one who need help? And that's it.
Preach
I
it,
think that's
sister. Love
very
it.
practical.
Amen.
Very. I think it's very practical to think like, what am I struggling with? What are the people around me struggling with? It doesn't become this kind of, nebulous kind of, idea. It's like, no, this is practical. This is something that, I'm struggling with, and other people are probably struggling with it as well. So I think with that tip alone, you probably inspired some people with an idea.
I hope. But
Yeah,
it's also very, very important to have a good team. Make a good team of people who you trust and who really have a heart and fire for doing this.
Yeah, I really got that message from you, Sashka, because obviously you're looking around the community, you're trying to figure out what the needs are, but you're also looking around your church and your networks, and you're asking yourself, that question that that God asked Moses, what do you have in your hand? And you saw the skills and the passions that you had in your church, and you harness them and you make that happen, because you can't create solutions when you don't have the resources. But I also really do like what you've said. It's not, God doesn't only need our strengths, God also needs our weaknesses. The Apostle Paul says we have this treasure in jars of clay, and Paul and his thorn in his flesh and all this sort of stuff. God needs our weaknesses, and as you say, I'm having my struggles, I'm going through my difficulties, and God can use that just as much as he can use our strengths. So yeah, thanks so much for sharing your story, and really inspirational, and I really hope it's sparking off some ideas for people who are watching We Are the Church Sabbath afternoon session today. Thanks for your time today, Sashka.
Thank you for having me. Have a
Thank
blessed
you.
Sabbath day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
We're getting good at this talking to people on screens thing, aren't we, Rachel? It's
I feel like her fire has just rubbed off on me. She was so passionate about what she's doing. So it made me like, okay, sorry, gotta leave this broadcast. I have to go find the next thing to do.
have to go find some needs, do something. That's what it's all about. Yeah, there's no point in just being, having your heart warmed and hearing a good story. I mean, if it doesn't actually motivate you to action or to ask some questions about, well, what do I have in my hand? What is God calling me to do? Well, then, it's a feel good. It actually pacifies us to hear an inspirational story rather than motivating us. And that would be a real pity. But I tell you what, the times when I've been most motivated and most inspired traveling around our division is when I've been to Papua New Guinea. Amazing place, friendly people, diverse country, mountains and rivers and swamps and beaches and beautiful tropical islands. And we are going to check out an incredible ministry there, and perhaps where the tourist brochures don't often take you, and that's in the tough areas of the capital city of Port Moresby. Check this out. You will be blown away by what's happening here.
Nerali Silas lives in Boroko, a busy suburb in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. Nerali has a passion to share Jesus Christ to people she meets. During the COVID-19 lockdown earlier this year, Nerali visited some of her non-Adventist friends in her neighborhood. Among her friends are the homeless, prostitutes, and those rejected by their families. They live along a drain in makeshift shelters and caravans, taking each day as it comes.
So is this where you do your laundry? Okay. How long have you been here? 9 years. Okay, so this is Sister Helen. As you can see, she's got a bag of clothes already washed. Okay, so that's her bag. So thank you.
Nerali reached out to her friends by giving them food and clothes. She also invited them to her home for showers and meals. During one of the many visits to her home, Nerali's friends suggested that they should study the Bible together. She gladly accepted this suggestion and asked her friends to decide on the days for the studies. They agreed to study 5 days a week. On April 18, she began studying the Bible with her friends using the Discovery Bible reading method. The Central Papua Conference helped her with Bibles and other resources for the small group. During the week, 15 to 20 people turn up for studies, and on Sabbaths, nearly 100 gather to worship God. Prayer, study of the Word, and sharing a meal brings hope to Nerali's friends. Nerali is happy that her friends have decided to learn more about Jesus and to follow Him. Meanwhile, Elder Job from the Daima Seventh-day Adventist Church also visited another group that lives further down the drain area during the COVID-19 lockdown.
I live in a small community along a drain side. I live me and my family, other families there, and some other families over there.
Elder Job conducted Bible studies with the group. A little shelter was set up for the group to meet on Sabbaths. Nopiti Karo is one of those who is studying the Bible with Elder Job. Nopiti says after his studies, he tells his other friends about Jesus. He is thankful that he and his friends are learning more about Jesus. Nopiti is also thankful to the Central Papua Conference for providing Bibles for the group.
Man, boy, what did you think of that, Rachel?
Oh, I've been really eager to talk to Miss Nerali because I was really inspired by her story, especially just her friends, like her chatting with her friends, spending time. It felt really like Jesus's ministry. Welcome to the broadcast, Miss Nerali. I think you might be on mute there.
Yes.
Hey, welcome, Nerali. Happy
Sabbath, everyone. Thank you.
That's just an amazing picture that we get of Port Moresby. And I have to admit, the first question I have is, when you're living in a drain in a country where there is sometimes, very heavy tropical downpours, is that a dangerous place to live?
Of course it is, because you expect the big flood to come across, and it can take anything along the way.
And how do these people I guess, become homeless to live there? Because I guess we have a picture maybe sometimes of thinking of, Melanesian culture, that people live with their family and in their village and they look after each other and everyone's looked after and they have their garden and everything. So how do people end up homeless in the city of Port Moresby? I mean, it seems a terrible place to end up.
Okay, thank you. In fact, the group of people that I call them my friends, to be on the street, it depends, and I believe it will be upon the rejection from the family or of what choice that they made. And I believe because they are rejected, that's why they are on the street. But I have a group of friends. Some of them are the one in prostitution. Some of them because they're dealing with drugs, and maybe the community doesn't want them. So among the homeless, I have different groups of people. Even the youngest children, as young as 10, 11, and 12, they're on the street.
Miss Nerly, I was wondering, how did you meet the people in the first place? Like, is your house located nearby and you walk past and see them, or how did that first encounter happen?
Of course, I've been living in Morocco for almost 20 years. And they've been part and parcel of me, meaning that it's about only 5-minute walk from where I live. And I have this, I talk to anyone on the street. Can be little children, can be anyone. So I have friends that are actually drug people, boys who are involved in drug. I have the one, they are mentally ill. I talk to them. I talk to the women in prostitution, and I talk to anyone on the street. It's about seeing them through the eyes of Jesus and having it's about friendship, having friendship with anyone as soon as I stepped out of the house.
Wow.
I love this idea. Go ahead.
Sorry, go on, Rachel.
I was just going to say, like, a lot of us would think, especially in societies that are, where life would be quite fast paced, we think, oh, when do we have time to actually pause? But are you giving Jesus your schedule at the beginning of the day? Like, you might say, oh, I need to do my shopping today, but God, I know I'm going to encounter 20 people between here and the shopping center. How are you managing your time and managing your friends? Because many of us would think of that. And I'm thinking of what our viewers might be thinking.
Thank you. Actually, for me, time is not a problem with me. Because the moment I walked out, I meet people along the way. So at the moment, because I'm not working, I left job about 3 years ago because I love talking to people. It ended up me not working. So I spent time talking to people. So when I leave the house, I knew exactly that along the way I will meet people. So I am prepared. I have to pray before I leave the house so that God will always lead me to people. So before leaving the house, actually, I knew that I will meet my friends. So I will spend maybe more than 20, 30 minutes, sometimes 1 hour with them. And it depends on the children. If they are children, I spend time with the children. If there are people who are just sitting anywhere, I sit down with them, talk to them, make friends with them.
Mm-hmm. So have you been sharing this vision and sharing these stories with your local church and other churches in your area? Are any of them sort of coming on board to support you and help you?
Yes. Since that time, during the COVID period, there were a lot of confusion in Papua New Guinea, especially when we don't understand what COVID is. And we were told the church has to close its door now, no more worship. And even in Boroko itself, our main market was closed, which is the center of Port Moresby. Boroko is the center of Port Moresby. And we had all the shops closed, meaning that only people that we lived around, only us.
But just you and your local area. Yeah.
That's right, because you don't have no PMVs, no buses running, not even a taxi. So it's about seeing all of us and being confused about everything. The talk of the day is about COVID, and it's about where are we going now. And while we know that we are a Christian country, people talk about, is Jesus coming? So these are the confusion that leads me to be on the street to talk to them about Jesus. And yes, after learning that they want to do Bible study, I call Pastor Mila Kuso, and I told him, please, I need you right now. We need some Bible. So this is where we we have all this World Changer Bible plus the Bible, the starter. Yes, so the church has been helping, and there are friends that have been bringing us food. CPC help us with a lot of things, and right now we are still working together.
Some people, Natalie, would maybe feel fear in your situation. I mean, you talk about, helping people who are, as you say, dealing drugs, people who have mental health issues, and you talk about even inviting them home to your house to have a shower. I mean, some people would be afraid to do that. They would be afraid of their own physical safety. What's your reasoning there? Why do you do that?
Actually, for the past years, I had a ministry, Booklink Adventist Literature Ministry, that I give out free literature. And the more I give out literature, I came in contact with a lot of people. And during this time, they are my friends already. Now, before I go out, I remember Jesus saying that I will be with you. So for me, physically, yes, but I believe that God will be with me. That's the promise. He said he'll be with us. So where do I put God in the ministry? This is where the fear and everything, when you have faith that God will be with you. And this is where people got surprised when I can talk to the mentally ill people and even to those drug body.
Do you, Miss Nerly, do you feel like someone is, someone is asking about how you fund your ministry. So you did share that you're getting Bibles from the conference. Are there any other ways you're getting funds for the ministry?
Actually, right now, I have a very close friends, which prior to that, they've been very close friends. We involved in feeding and involved in the health ministry and other ministries which church got involved with. So I have a lot of friends also, which they support me. Now, I left job after 20 years. And to me, what I have is not mine. It's about God blessing me to be a blessing to someone. So yes, I say my whatever that I have. I have 3 children, 3 boys, and they knew that what I have is for everybody. Seeing God in the picture, give what you have. Yes. So it's not all about the money that you have, but it's about how much God is with you also.
Sister Nerily, you mentioned Pastor Milakuso at the Central Papua conference there in Moresby. I've been emailing him recently, like organising for literature to go to him. There's been a lot of sharing literature going on, including a Pacific special edition of the Pacific Signs of the Times magazine.
Yes.
Which is the literature that you're giving out to these people? You mentioned the World Changers Bibles. What else?
Okay. In fact, I started this 3 years ago. 3 years ago, when I was still at work, and because being born at Adventist, I was out in the wilderness for almost 20 years, meaning that I was also not in the church. And it was through literature that I came back to the church, and that was in 2010 when I returned back. But I am an Adventist. My parents are they are minister in the gospel. And I'm from the island at 80 years of being Adventist, meaning that I am an Adventist, but I went out. So my interest in literature, it's because of literature took me back to the church. So I have to print, there's 3 books that I printed, about 12,000 copies, and I gave it out free to people. And then I started buying books using what God blessed me from my retirement money, and buying books and giving out free. And I always visit ABC also.
Wow. No, that's really fantastic. Thank you so much, Sister, for your ministry, for just inspiring us to, you don't have to find out on the internet where there's a need somewhere far away. The need could be like right there in your community, and I see you responding to that, and that's just a really beautiful, inspirational thing. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today, and happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath, and thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us today.
I love PNG. Spent 4 years there when I was a kid, and every time I go back, it just the spirit of the people there, the passion. You can see that with Neroli, can't you?
No, definitely. I could feel it through the video, but being able to actually chat with her, I felt it even more. And yeah, someone you felt like you could keep chatting with for a while to keep getting that inspiration and feeling like you wanted to go and do something after you finish this conversation.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely, absolutely. But time is moving along, but we do have time to share one more video with you. This one is based in Sydney, but this project goes all the way across Australia and across New Zealand as well, the Mums at the Table project. So let's check out this video.
Hi, my name is Leanne, and I've only recently become involved with the Mums at the Table initiative of local meetup groups. So Mums at the Table has a Facebook group for mums in Australia and New Zealand, and the requests from mums to meet other mums in the local areas. So the group has just recently branched out into local meetup groups. I was asked if I would help moderate the Adelaide group, meaning I would do things like approve posts, ensure the tone of the group was positive, and also be part of the meetups. I prayed about it and I felt an urging in my heart. It seemed like it kind of fit with my life circumstances. After all, I'm a stay-at-home mum with 3 kids. My uni break was just starting at the time, and it just felt like a good opportunity for me to start up the ministry at least. So far we've done some catch-ups at cafes, I've met some great new people, discovered some new playgrounds, and even done a Zoom cooking session where we're making cupcakes on Zoom with other kids as well, so that was quite fun. And we've had a couple of mums come and attend the playgroup that we run at the local church, so overall I think it's been fairly positive, and I'm hoping we can continue to build on these friendships. So from the parable of the sower, we know that the soil Jesus is referring to is actually our hearts. So in a sense, we prepare the soil by preparing our hearts and also the hearts of others. And the way to someone's heart, no, it's not through your stomachs, though I have discovered lots of yummy cafes of late. But no, the way to someone's heart is essentially through love. By expressing joy, by modeling peace, by treating others with patience and kindness, by emulating goodness and faithfulness while also demonstrating gentleness and self-control in all that we do. And it is our actions, our decisions, and our testimony that will speak multitudes about the Christ that we serve. And we can only show this to others if we are willing to meet them where they are. One of my favorite Bible verses is 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 11, which says, "Therefore encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing." Motherhood has had its challenges, but one I didn't quite expect was the loneliness and, the feeling that you had to ride out the struggles alone. Don't get me wrong, I have amazing friends and family that shower me with support and love, but even sometimes I still feel that I need encouragement in this. And many of the mums I meet share the same sentiment. I think particularly after the whole COVID situation, a lot of people in general are feeling the isolation of the time, and some of the mums I was speaking to, for example, they've recently moved to Adelaide and then everything shut down, so they couldn't join a mums group or meet other people through playgroups and other activities as well. So I think many of these mums are in search of a village, in search of people who can understand and accept them, and just building friendships, to build friendships for themselves and for their children too. The Mums at the Table ministry is unique in that there's no specific structure, like, you're not constrained to the formally run playgroup or Sabbath school program. Rather, mums can just organise catch-ups in their own time, do things at their own pace, and find activities that suit their family. Like we have some mums who are interested in doing hikes with their kids. So it's about finding that common ground, and then, just maintaining relationships. And I think it falls, it really falls under personal ministries, because you're building relationships with people in the community. And of course, while there is a hope that this can feed into the church ministries, such as inviting people to adventurers or Sabbath school, but I think the heart of the matter is that we're essentially doing what Jesus told us to do, to love and to serve one another. And I think when we're doing this, I believe God will grant us opportunities to share our testimony and to talk about Him with other people. So please pray for this ministry, and not just in Adelaide, but for the ministry all across Australia and New Zealand. And mums out there, do join your local group if you have one, and you may be surprised at how God can use a Facebook group to prepare the soil for his seed to be sown.
Beautiful, beautiful. Welcome to our broadcast today, Kylie. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. It's a beautiful day here today.
Yes, we do want to clarify that you are not Leanne. So in case anyone's trying to adjust their TV to see if they're seeing things properly. But you do work, yes, you do work with Leanne and other moms like her
I do.
In your role. Can you just share a little bit about what you do?
I'm the community engagement person for, actually haven't been working in the role that long. I've probably only been there a month, I think, but I'm absolutely loving it because it is such a worthy cause. I can relate a lot to to a lot of what Leanne said, where motherhood, it can be a lonely and confusing journey, and it's just really nice to be able to connect with people and people that are going through similar sort of experiences to what you are going through. And I think that when you've got kids, it is something that you really bond over, and you want to do the best for your kids. Your perspective often changes when you have children, and the things that you kind of thought were important take a bit more of a back seat, and things that were not necessarily as important before become a bit more important because you're responsible for a little human. It's not just you. So it's a ministry that I'm really, really enjoying being a part of.
So Kylie, Mums at the Table is an Adventist media project, and I was actually involved right at the very beginning when it kicked off as sort of a women's panel TV program, and there are still Mums at the Table videos going up on YouTube and playing on, I think, 7/2 in Australia, an Australian Christian channel and thereabouts. So that's still going. Then there was the magazine, which went for a while, which was a great magazine, but sadly people don't necessarily want to fork out for a print magazine, and that isn't there anymore, although there's a website with articles and there's still content there. But this social media aspect to Mums at the Table has been the real sort of surprising success. Everyone's got a Facebook group, it seems no big deal, but can you give us just a little bit of a picture of what is happening on Facebook with Mums at the Table? Like, how many mums are involved, and what exactly is happening there?
So, like I said, it's such exciting ministry because we have a Facebook group, and we have between 8,000 and 9,000 members across Australia and New Zealand, and it grows every week. We literally are adding 100 or 200 mums a week, and that's through minimal advertising. We've cut back our whole, a lot of our advertising budgets and that sort of thing, which, by the way, we are donor sponsored. So for us, we've got to be very careful about what we do with our money and how we spend it. So it's really exciting that we're getting traction without actually having to spend a lot of our pennies to do it. It just seems to be people are inviting their friends, and it's a group that there are so many non-Adventist mums in our group, and which is fantastic. It's such a good way to reach the community, and it seems to be providing a great service for them. And basically,
what sort of conversations are happening on that Facebook group? Just to give us a picture.
Oh, look, anything from my child didn't sleep last night, I'm about to die, any suggestions, through to, really, women who are going through doing it tough, especially in COVID. You know, there's so many marriage breakdowns, relationship breakdowns that are going on, you know, and these women, they really open up, they really engage. Our engagement rates are so incredibly high, and you know, we've got women from all walks of life, and you know, they meet on this platform and they bond and they do life together, and so from that huge group there, we're now looking at doing local groups, you know, just to keep that connection and that intimacy with amongst those mums. So
because 9,000 is not that intimate.
Not really, no.
Well, can you explain a little bit more about what Leanne is doing? Because it seems like she's part of one of those local groups, and how, if someone's watching, if they wanted to get involved, what could they do as well?
Oh, look, Leanne is a moderator for a local group in Adelaide.
Is that a local Facebook group, or is that a local in-person group?
Local Facebook group. But the thing with the local groups are, we're setting up these groups, and they're Facebook groups, but we are also, and particularly post-COVID, but we're encouraging them to actually meet up, you know, find a great park to meet in, find a great play group to go to, find things that you can engage in, find a great cafe that's child friendly where you can meet and chat, and so ladies like Leanne are putting their hands up to be moderators for these groups, and you know what? Not all our mums are young like Leanne. You know, we've got older mums, we've got grandmas.
Well, we need the advice from everybody, right?
Absolutely, yeah, totally. And you know, often grandmas are the best. They're looking for something to do in you know, with their time, and particularly right now, you know, when they may not be able to see their grandkids, and they may not be able to engage with their family like they used to. There are plenty of mums out there that are needing a second mum, and just needing that soft place to fall. And you know, if you can pick up a phone and give them a call once a week, or if you can be there for them to help with something, or just reach out and show that you care, it goes such a long way. And it's just such a great opportunity just to show people Jesus' love.
So what can a mum do if she's listening and she wants to get involved? Where should she go, or what should she do?
Right. Well, she can email me for a starter at Kylie at adventistmedia.org.au. And I am more than happy to get in contact with you, chat through, you know, what you feel like your abilities, where your strengths lie. Being a moderator for a group is such a valuable thing for us. And you don't necessarily have to do it all on your own either. You know, our aim is to set up a team of moderators for each local group that we set up, so that, you know, you're sharing the journey with people, and that, you know, you might have your strengths and they have their strengths, and together you're stronger. And it doesn't just all fall on one person's shoulders to steer that group.
Well, I think this is an exciting opportunity for any mom who's looking to get involved, and it's something that you can do from your home. Share your experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really. I was actually just checking the website. It's mumsathethetable.com is the website there, and that's like the hub for, you know. Oh, there you go. It's on screen. It's you know, the hub for the articles, for the videos, to link in with the Facebook group, or just go on Facebook and search Mums at the Table. I guess a lot of us spend way too much time on Facebook, you know, chatting and connecting and having our opinions. So why not turn it into a ministry? You know.
Absolutely, it is such a brilliant opportunity just to connect with mums and just minister to them.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much for your time, Kylie. We'll let you get back to your picnic. It looks fantastic out there. Enjoy the sunshine.
It is.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Wow, 4 inspirational stories, from all over the place, Rachel. I mean, there's the theme of, that we've been looking at today is in that sort of discipleship model, but it's the early phase of preparing the soil. How have you seen that theme, coming through in what we've talked about today, the stories we've heard?
I think as this morning I was listening to the Bible experience, and I was listening to Jesus and how he interacted with people, and I could have pretty much taken some of the stories and plopped them into the Bible, from what people were doing. And I think sometimes we're waiting for someone to come and tell us their need, and sometimes we feel like we can be rejected. But what I've seen today is about actually approaching people, figuring out their needs, and having that boldness to actually meet people where they are, meet their needs. And I think Leanne said it so well. I think we think about preparing the soil as preparing the soil of someone else's heart, but it's actually in a sense preparing the soil of our own heart. Because as we were seeing even that, when the food ministry came together, they loved on each other first. They spent that time eating together themselves as a church community, and that really prepared them to be able to go out and speak to the community. So I think in the actions that we're doing, God isn't preparing others. He's actually preparing the soil of our own hearts for the work that's happening. So I've definitely been inspired.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can put it in a discipleship model and say, preparing the soil leads to sowing the seed, leads to, cultivating the young plant, etc., in that sort of evangelistic sense. But what I think I saw today was people who were just moved in their heart by the love of Jesus and saw needs around them. I mean, I really didn't get the sense that there was a calculating, is this person likely to end up in a baptismal font? It was just, this person needs help, this person is here in front of me and they have a need and I want to be there for them. And it was just that spontaneity that really, warmed my heart. And then Sister Nerily, for example, says, then they asked me, what's going on in the world? Let's study the Bible. It wasn't some calculated effort on Nerily's part at all. It's just, genuine love.
She was with her friends.
Yeah. She's with her friends. She said that. I really, really like that. Yeah. Make friends.
If our friend needed something, we would give it to them, right? So I think it's like starting to see the world and see people as our friends. And then what are the needs of our friends? The same way we, give our friend whatever they need it, we need to see everyone in the world as our friends and then start figuring out what our friends need.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, I hopefully the message has been coming through to you guys as you've been watching today, really, really clearly. It's not just about being inspired by other people's stories. It's starting to think about what are the needs in your community. What are the skills that you have, with you. What do you have in your hand? The website, which is just popped up on the screen, adventistchurch.com/wearethechurch, has a bunch of resources there to help you start reflecting on that. Particularly I think it's the Multiplying Churches conversation document. Really good. Gets into that preparing the soil stuff, which we've been looking at today. But goes deeper as well. Lots of great resources for you to check out there. We've really enjoyed, we really hope you enjoyed hearing these stories today, like meeting these people, seeing how people are doing ministry in different parts of the South Pacific. What really impressed you, Rachel, just as we finish?
I think it was Miss Nerily. I think just changing a perspective of seeing people as our friends, and Leanne talking about our own hearts being prepared, as well as we're doing work for others. So I'm ready to go do something after this.
Love it. Well, we're out of time. So, for this, time to stop watching screens and go and do something positive. Let me just close with prayer. Thank you, dear Father, so much for this Sabbath. Thank you for this time that we've had sharing with people from all over the division and seeing how you've called them to do amazing things in their communities. Simple things in many ways, but amazing things in terms of the impact they're having on other people's lives. Thank you for the way you're using them, for the way that you're blessing others through them. And please speak to us and guide us in our own hearts, within our families, within our local churches, within our region, and let us know what it is that you want us to do going forward. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Until next time.
And thank you, everyone, so much for watching today. And thanks, Rachel, for being a part of it.
You too. Enjoy the rest of your Sabbath.
Okay. God bless everyone. Look after yourself. Don't forget to check out that website. We'll see you next time.